Portland City Council accepts report describing tear gas used by officers as chemical weapons. Bear Creek, Oregon mother Julie Connell says her town should not jeopardize the needs of our children. The Portland City Council voted Wednesday to accept a police reform report that equates tear gas used to control protesters with chemical weapons, and calls on police not to use heavy protective clothing when confronting unruly demonstrators. According to the report from the Citizen Review Committee's Crowd Control and Use of Force Work Group, it is recommended that the Portland Police Bureau make permanent the existing ban on the use of CS gas by PPB and extend it to other chemical weapons used for crowd management. Amid several violent protests last year, officers were forced to deploy CS, one of the most commonly used tear gases, in an attempt to disperse crowds and maintain order. Following those instances, Mayor Ted Wheeler banned the use of tear gas by police.
The report also calls for creation of a plan to mitigate the risks to public health and the environment in the event of chemical weapons use. The report went on to insist that officers should adopt soft clothes for protest response instead of riot gear, which may suggest the expectation of violence or combat when attending or responding to events where violence has not occurred. Another recommendation was that officers cease use of weapons that target groups, rather than individuals, when largely peaceful crowds are present, and avoid force as an escalating act. City Council member Mingus Mack said at the meeting that he was having difficulty trying to understand what situations would warrant allowing officers to don riot gear. "I am curious, if you looked at the number of police officers who were injured during these protests," Mapp said, according to Coin 6 News. "I don't have that data in front of me for city police, but the feds claim 144 federal officers who were in riot gear were injured. So one of the things I'm trying to figure out is what situations do we have them in protective clothing?" The recommendations were based on thorough analysis of community feedback, discussion with PPB leadership, and review of existing policies, established best practices, and legal standards, according to the report. The report also claimed there was an apparent bias in favor of right-wing groups and against protesters of color in the press, and called for mandatory comprehensive cultural diversity and anti-racism training vetted by members of vulnerable communities. While the City Council voted to accept the report, no action was taken on the recommendations. Saying that police are responsible for the violence is jumping to the next level of politically insane, Pulliam added.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe,